Hi, this is Dr. Gregory Sadler. I'm a professor of philosophy and the president and founder of an educational consulting company called Reason.io, where we put philosophy into practice. I've studied and taught philosophy for over 20 years, and I find that many people run into difficulties reading classic philosophical texts. Sometimes it's the way things are said or how the text is structured. But the concepts themselves are not always that complicated, and that's where I come in. To help students and lifelong learners, I've been producing longer lecture videos and posting them to YouTube. Many viewers say they find them useful. What you're currently watching is part of a new series of shorter videos, each of them focused on one core concept from an important philosophical text. I hope you find it useful as well. The discussion in chapter 11 of Aristotle's On Interpretation can be a bit confusing. It bears upon combining multiple predicates into one, and when you can do that and when you can't, what sort of cases you can do that with and what sort of cases it will actually produce what Aristotle calls an absurdity, an atopos, right? Something that doesn't make sense when you think it through. And you might say, well, why talk about this? Why would we want to be combining predicates into one thing? And just to give you one example that he considers, he talks about, thinking about a man being good. So you predicate goodness of this man. And you also predicate cobbler or shoemaker of this man. So you've got two different things that you're saying about him. And then why not combine the two into he is a good shoemaker? Well, that's a great example of one of those that doesn't follow from what you started with. The fact that the man is good and the fact that he is also a shoemaker doesn't mean that he is what we would call a good shoemaker. He could be a lousy shoemaker, right? But he's also a good person. So not every opportunity to combine predicates is actually going to work. And the English translation introduces some terms here and there to try to make sense of it that aren't actually there in the Greek. So for example, a proposition is not one, but several that predicates one thing of many or many of one, and the same in a positive or negative manner. So it's actually, the Greek is much more direct. It says that affirming or denying, kataphani, apophani, either one of many, to hen is one, right? Katapolon, of many, or pola, many, kathenos, right? So affirming or denying one of many or many of one, this is what we're thinking about. And he says, unless you can show that they are one, this could get us into trouble, right? So he says, I'm not using one, hen, of such things that even though they have one name, they don't, as it's translated here, coalesce into one total unity, meaning they can't be combined, you could say, even fused together into one single thing, right? And so he's going to use examples of this. So human being is animal, right? You can truly say all men or all human beings are animals. You can say this human being is animal. Biped, and interestingly, domesticated or peaceful is another way of translating it. And he says these coalesce into one. These do, in fact, describe the nature of human being. And it's interesting here that he's not using, rational animal. He's using bipedal and peaceful or domesticated as the things that go with animal here. White, man, and walking, he says, do not. So you can certainly say truly this man is white or this man is walking, but there's no intrinsic connection between white and walking that's going to let you combine them into one, coalesce into one unity. So he's going to say, going on with this, that when combining certain predicates together, so syntithemena, when they are being set together as you could say, kind of a whole, right? He says we find that the separate predicates, and again, it's using the same kind of language, fuse themselves into one predicate. What it's really saying here in the Greek, again, is more like when combining certain predicates, the separate predicates, the things that are being predicated separately from each other, horis in Greek, are being predicated, or are one predicate, hen to pan kategorema, right? So all of them are combined into one thing that's being said about it. And then he says that works in certain cases. In other cases, it doesn't. And so he says, what's the actual difference going to be here? How does this difference arise? And so he says, well, we can use two propositions and state first that, for example, man is an animal, second, that man is a biped, or combining the two into one, state that man is a two-footed animal. And that one actually works, right? Combining these two statements into one. But there's other cases where this is not going to work. For example, cobbler and good. He says, though a man is a cobbler and good, we cannot combine them together and pronounce him also a good cobbler. Now notice what's happening there. The good cobbler is a different sort of combination. The good is modifying cobbler. Aristotle's not spelling this out, but that gives us some idea. When we're combining the two predicates together, if they're not intrinsically connected, we're going to run into a problem. So he says, we can actually say that whenever two predicates are separately taken, they're truly affirmed of one subject, we get into trouble when we say that because they're truly affirmed of one subject, we can combine them, and the combination of them combined into one predicate, like good cobbler, is also going to be true. And he says this is going to lead us to all sorts of problems, things being kind of off base or being apeiron, meaning to, a way that we can't get through. So that's going to be an issue, which means that we've got to look at things on kind of a case-by-case basis. So he says, a man is a man and is white, so he is a white man. So far, so good. Now, we can go a little bit further and say if he's white, then it follows the composite also is white. So we can predicate whiteness of that, and now we get a white man, right? Now that seems a little bit off, doesn't it? And he goes on, he says, this can go on to infinity. We can do this with musical or walking and white. These can be combined many times. Of Socrates, we can say he is Socrates. He is a man, and therefore the man Socrates, we can call him a man and a biped and therefore a two-footed man. So it works in some cases, but doesn't work in other cases, combining them together. Are there any rules that we can use to figure out these sorts of cases? Yeah, he's going to give us some. So he says that when predicates are going to be accidental to the subject or to each other, then we can't combine them into one single predicate. Now, what does it mean to be accidental? In Greek, that's actually symbebikos, right? They are not essential or part of its substance. And so a lot of things that we can talk about could be accidental. The predicate of white is something that's a quality, that is an accident. We could also talk about position or action. So, walking around, right? There's nothing essential about walking around unless a human being is always walking, right? So there are some things that we can say are essential, rational, bipedal. Ignore the fact that maybe somebody's got their legs cut off. They're still a biped. They're just missing legs, right? So those sorts of things are not accidental. When we've got accidental ones, then we can't combine them into one. Nothing prevents us from affirming them separately of the same subject, and that's fine. So he says, being musical and whiteness. We can say a person is musical and a person is white, but being musical and whiteness don't coalesce into one because they're both accidental to the subject. Even if everything white could truly be said to be musical, it wouldn't form a unity, for only he says, indeed, only incidentally is that which is musical white. And so musical and whiteness are not going to combine into one. Same thing with good cobbler, which he brings up again. If a person is both good and a cobbler, we cannot combine the terms and make them into a good cobbler. But notice what we can do. We can combine animal and biped and call human being a bipedal animal because these terms are not accidental to each other. Okay, so that's one way of understanding it. He also talks about predicates where one is being implied in the other. They can't combine to form one. So he says that we cannot combine white repeatedly with that which already contains it, or call a man animal man or two-footed man. Why? Because animal and biped are already implicit in the idea of human being. They're already part of the essence, you could say. And he says, but we certainly can do this with a single case. We can say, this man is a man. That works. Or a particular white man is a white man. But he says, this isn't always so. If there's some opposite that implies contradictories, then we'd have a problem there. Great example of this, when we say that dead man is a man. Well, he's not really a man anymore. He's a corpse. It's a misdescription to call him a man. He does go on, and the last thing that he's going to say is a little bit tricky here, is in predications, when we're, these are categoriais, when we are predicating things of each other that don't have any sort of contradiction or, more literally, contrariness inherent in them. If we replace, it's translated as the nouns, the onomata, we replace them, we say in their place, definitions, which is actually not horoi, which we would expect, but rather logoi, right? We replace them with the account, the statement of what the thing is. Then, the predicates are not accidental, then it's true, he's going to say, to say it simply. If that's a sort of literal translation, the English translation here is the individual may well be the subject also of the simple propositions, but the Greek says, "Toti kai haplos alethes estai epen." It will be true to say it of the simply thing, or to say it simply, right? So it's a little bit obscure in how it's expressed, but the idea is that, if you've got predications that don't have a contradiction, and you provide some sort of account that, like a definition, gets at the essence of the thing, okay, then you're going to be able to combine them into a simple predicate. But you notice that that is going to be kind of a rare case. And in most cases, we're not going to be able to fuse the predicates into one. This is where we can often get ourselves tripped up, when we assume that we've got two true statements where of the same subject, multiple things are being said, and we can just kind of close them up into the same, whatever you want to imagine it as, the same bag, the same linguistic expression. We have to be careful not to engage in absurdities or create false statements by doing so.